Have you ever wondered what an APT is and why it's a significant threat? Let's break it down. An APT, or Advanced Persistent Threat, is a type of cyber attack that differs significantly from traditional web application threats. You see, APTs are complex. They're not hit-and-run attacks. Instead, once a network is infiltrated, the perpetrator sticks around like an unwelcome guest to glean as much information as possible. What's more, APTs are manually executed. They're not automated bots that spray and pray. These attacks are meticulously planned and launched against a specific target, not indiscriminately aimed at a large pool of potential victims, and their ambitions are grand. APTs don't just settle for one part of a network, they aim to infiltrate the whole thing. Now that you understand what an APT is, you might be wondering, what are the main motives and targets of an APT attack? What drives these sophisticated attacks, and who are the usual targets? This is the crux of our exploration. APT attacks are typically driven by motives like espionage, sabotage, or financial gain. Espionage, for instance, involves the theft of classified information for strategic advantage. Sabotage, on the other hand, aims to disrupt or destroy an organization's operations, often for political or competitive reasons. Financial gain is self-explanatory, with attackers seeking to steal valuable data for monetary profit. Now, who do these attackers usually target? Government entities, corporations, and other high-profile organizations often find themselves in the crosshairs. These entities typically possess valuable data and resources, making them attractive targets for APT attacks. Governments may hold sensitive information related to national security, corporations may possess intellectual property, and high-profile organizations could have data that can be used for strategic advantage. Knowing the motives and targets gives us a clearer picture of the threat. But how does an APT attack unfold? An APT attack doesn't happen overnight. It's a carefully orchestrated process. Picture the first stage as a burglar casing a neighborhood. They're identifying weak spots, potential entry points. This is the gain access stage. Once they find a vulnerable point, they move on to stage 2, establish a foothold. This could be exploiting a weak password, an outdated security patch, or an unsuspecting employee. Think of it as the burglar finding an unlocked door and stepping inside. Once inside, they don't want to be detected. So, they cover their tracks. The third stage. They might delete logs, create backdoors, anything that helps them remain undetected. It's like the burglar wiping their footprints off the floor. Finally, we reach stage 4, deepen access. The attacker, now inside, tries to gain higher-level privileges, like a burglar finding the keys to the entire building. The attacker is now inside the network. What happens next? The attacker has successfully infiltrated the network, but the attack is far from over. Now, we move to the next stage, moving laterally. This is where the attacker explores the network, seeking out more valuable data and resources. Their goal? To gain control over as much of the network as possible. Next up is staging the attack. The attacker sets up the base of operations for the main attack, often making sure to have multiple exit strategies. This stage is crucial for the attacker's success and is executed with utmost caution. Now, it's time for the attacker to take the data. They extract sensitive information, often unnoticed, and send it back to their base. This could be anything from intellectual property to sensitive personal information. Finally, the attacker remains in the system, learning and adapting, ready for follow-up attacks. Yes, the APT attack has been successfully executed, but how can we prevent such an attack in the first place? Prevention is always better than cure, but how can we prevent an APT attack? It all starts with traffic monitoring. By observing the data entering and leaving your network, you can identify unusual patterns indicative of an APT attack. The key here is to be vigilant and proactive. Next, consider application and domain whitelisting. This is essentially creating a list of trusted entities. Only the applications and domains on this list are granted access, thereby reducing the risk of infiltration by malicious actors. In tandem with whitelisting, access control plays a crucial role. This involves regulating who can access your network and what they can do within it. By limiting access to only those who absolutely need it, you minimize the potential points of entry for an attacker. Another critical security measure is patching network software and operating system vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities are like open doors to an attacker, and patching them is akin to locking those doors. Regular updates and patches are your best defense against these types of threats. Encryption of remote connections also plays a vital role in APT prevention. This ensures that even if an attacker intercepts the data, they won't be able to decipher it. Filtering incoming emails to prevent spam is another effective measure. Spam often contains malicious links or attachments that can serve as entry points for an APT attack. Logging of security events is also essential. This allows you to keep a record of what's happening within your network, which can be invaluable in identifying and understanding an attack. Real-time traffic monitoring provides an extra layer of defense. By observing your network traffic in real time, you can detect and respond to threats as they occur. Last but not least, setting up web application firewalls can help protect your network. These firewalls monitor and control incoming and outgoing web traffic, blocking malicious data and preventing unauthorized access. With these measures, you can significantly improve your defense against APT attacks. To wrap things up, let's review the key points we discussed today. Advanced Persistent Threats, or APTs, are complex, manually executed cyber attacks that aim to infiltrate entire networks. Unlike typical web application threats, APTs are not hit and run. Once the network is infiltrated, the perpetrator stays to gather as much information as possible. The main motives behind these attacks often include espionage, disruption, or financial gain, with targets ranging from governmental bodies to high-profile corporations. The stages of an APT attack follow a meticulous process: gaining access, establishing a foothold, covering tracks, deepening access, moving laterally, staging the attack, taking the data, and finally, learning, remaining, and preparing for follow-up attacks. To safeguard against such threats, security measures like traffic monitoring, application and domain whitelisting, access control, patching vulnerabilities, encrypting remote connections, filtering emails, logging security events, and setting up web application firewalls are crucial. Remember, in the world of cybersecurity, knowledge is your best defense. Stay informed, stay secure.